Yeah, Kevin, can you, we just talked to Alex Van Pelt, and he told us basically for the first time that Baker Mayfield's harness has hindered and hampered him this season. So my question to you then would be, did that impact how you had to call plays this season?
I think with any player, Mary Kay, whether they're wearing a knee brace or something with their ankle or their arm, obviously, for the quarterback, left arm as opposed to right arm, there's always working through and getting comfortable with those things. And I think that was definitely early on for Baker, was working through that and getting comfortable with that through practice reps, those type of things. I know he changed harnesses as well early on. So I just chalk it up to getting used to those type of things.
And do you think he ultimately did start to get used to it? Or when you look at 4 interceptions in Green Bay, are you still dealing with the harness issue?
Yeah, I do, Mary Kay. And again, you could ask Baker, and I'd rely on what he says, but just watching him at practice yesterday and watching him at practice throughout, this season and making good decisions, throwing the ball with accuracy. So I see that.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks, Mary Kay. Scott Petrick is next.
Hey, Kevin, how did Myles look yesterday in his first day back at practice after not practicing the week before?
Yeah, I thought he looked good.
And how important, he's talked about having full seasons, right? The last couple he was unable to finish for a couple of different reasons. How important do you think it is that he finishes the season as strong as he's played throughout these first 15 games?
Yeah, I mean, it'd be good for us if he finishes strong, I would say. Yeah, I think he's getting better. I hope he's feeling like himself on Monday night, but it's important that he plays well. He's as you guys know, he's a huge part of our defensive attack.
Thanks.
Thank you, Scott. Nate Ulrich, we'll go to you.
Hey, Kevin, do you have any more of an update or info on JOK and him dealing with an illness?
He'll be back today.
Back practicing?
Yes.
Okay. And just a follow-up on the harness situation. Does the fact that he had to get used to it, changed harnesses as you pointed out, and it was just something that he had to work through, does that kind of affect the way you view his 2021 season and evaluate it, or is that just a footnote for you?
Yeah, I don't want to characterize it, as a footnote, like you said, Nate, but it's not something that I'm, thinking a lot about. I think it's one of those things that he certainly worked through it, but we focus on how he looks at practice, how he looks in the games, and he's done a nice job.
Thanks, Nate. Dale Ryder, go ahead.
Yeah, Kevin, now that you've gotten just about everyone back from the COVID list, I think you have 5 players total between the active roster and the practice squad. And we're seeing still around the league tons of players ending up on the COVID list. So it seems like it was going to hit everybody at some point here. Do you just kind of feel confident that the worst of it is now behind you and you're kind of back to maybe where you were in November and early December when the breakout happened?
It's so hard to say, Daryl. I'm definitely not an expert on that. I think it's surprised some of the experts. So it's really hard for me to say.
And then just, going into Monday night's game, how much of the extra 2 days, or how much will these extra 2 days, because you didn't play on last Sunday, you're not going to play this Sunday, just from an overall health and preparation standpoint, how much did that extra 48 hours help you going into this game?
Yeah, I think every day helps, Daryl. I think when you get this late in the season, particularly, every day helps. Game number 16, week number 17, it's a longer season. So anytime you can get extra time this late in the year, I do think it helps.
Thanks, Daryl. Dan Lobby is next.
Hey, Kevin. One of the guys you got back off the COVID list too is JC. And I just kind of wanted to ask about, what he means to that line, what he means to the offense, making those calls, all of that stuff, just sort of what it means having him out there. Those were the first snaps he's missed in a Browns uniform.
Yeah, I think JC is very, very smart. He's playing at a high level for us. But certainly when you talk about the communication that has to occur in the huddle, at the line of scrimmage, on the sideline in between series, it helps having a veteran that's seen it all and can communicate well with his teammates and the coaches.
And then obviously his replacement, Nick, that was kind of his first opportunity. I guess, what does it say about guys that, when they have to wait that long to kind of get that chance, they're ready and they're able to go in and perform?
Yeah, similarly to a lot of guys, Dan, not real surprised at how Nick played. He played hard. He played physical. He had great effort. He had a bunch of good reps. So that's kind of what he's shown over the 2 years being with him. We saw him play, albeit at guard last year. So obviously seeing him at that, more natural position, center, he can obviously play guard, but seeing him get on the move and those type of things, I think you saw his skill set certainly in that game.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dan. We'll go to Jake Trotter.
Yeah, Kevin, maybe we covered this at some point this year. I can't remember, but what was the reason for the harness change?
Again, you'd have to ask Baker that one. I'm sure it was like anything, getting more comfortable with a different harness, I guess, but he could answer that better than me.
Okay. Like maybe less restrictive or no idea. Okay. All right. Very good.
Thanks, Jake. Scott Petrick, back to you.
Hey, Kevin, do you have to talk to the guys about how different Monday could be depending on what happens elsewhere Sunday?
Well, I think the timing of all that, we're into our night before the game meetings. And as you know, we'll know by that point. So I don't think it needs to be addressed prior to that.
I guess I mean how to handle it, right? I mean, you could be playing, you could say, okay, now everything's on the line versus we've been eliminated.
Yeah. And again, I think it goes back to Scott, totally out of our control, and I think we're not going to waste time and energy on things that are out of our control.
Thanks.
Thank you, Scott. Tom Withers has our next question.
Thanks, Rob. Hey, Kevin, Happy New Year. Hey, Big Ben, I think, is 2 months older than you. How much do you appreciate his longevity?
Yeah, I think any of these guys that play this game for a long time, it's amazing to me. And I think about just over the years, guys that I've had the pleasure to coach or coach against, to see them do it at such a high level, into their later age for football, it is impressive.
We're talking about quarterbacks being injured and what have you, and we see that every week. Guys get taken off. With him and Brady, I mean, do you think this is the last of kind of a generation of quarterbacks that are going to be able to hang on as long as they have?
I don't know, Tom. It's interesting. Guys over the years, some of the bigger, quote unquote, pocket passers know how to get the ball out of their hands, know how to not take those hits. And you have some guys that are more movement oriented and scrambling. And you would think it'd be harder to maintain that style. But I've been, so impressed by some of the guys in our league right now that are just hard to get on the ground. They're hard to tackle.
It probably doesn't hurt being 6'6", 240. Thanks, Kevin.
Thanks, Tom. We're going to take two more. Nate Ulrich, Scott Petrick. Nate.
Hey, Kevin, have you settled on right tackle this week?
Yes, we'll work through that this week. Not going to announce the lineup, but we're comfortable with where we're going.
Okay, and I think you got like 3 guys on the COVID reserve list now. In terms of your coaching staff, though, I'm not sure, is Chris Kiffin back? Where are you at with the coaches who had to be out with COVID protocol?
Yeah, they are all back.
Thank you.
Thanks, Nate. Final one, Scott Petrick.
Hey, Kevin, I guess you're not going to say who's at right tackle, but how important is that spot given the matchup with TJ?
Yeah, you're right, Scott. He's a great player. He has our attention. We have to account for him in the run and the pass game. But they have a bunch of great players along that front. So they do a nice job, and we got to make sure that we come ready to play.